Good morning. Just wanted to say hi, pop on here real quick, and just wanted to share today that today's talk is all about what does a toxic friendship look like? And there is so much going on behind the scenes, and I'm looking forward to sharing that with you about one size fits all next week. And yeah, there's been a lot going on. I had to take the last couple of days to do some self-care, kind of a trauma-versary for me in the last few days has been kind of a trauma-versary and, would have been a wedding anniversary, having been married for 20 years. The last few days have just been a little bit of a reminder of where I'm at, and I'm divorced and single, and there is some good about that, but there's also that trauma-versaries in my body. And so August 16th would have been our anniversary. So took some time for some self-care. Just getting back here today to talk with you today about what toxic friendships look like. And oh, by the way, this is one of those tops that was going to go into the donate pile. So I'm giving it another try this season. And this is something that's like totally different for me. So I typically wear more solid colors. So I'm stepping outside my comfort zone and, rocking this really cool print here on this top. So feeling really pretty. And just a reminder that true love really does begin with you. It begins with loving yourself. It begins with taking care of yourself and also learning new life skills. If you watch all the way through to the end, I have a question for you to ponder about this video. So without much of ado, we'll get together and we'll start the video. So our video talk today. So what does a toxic friendship look like? And, we all get into friendships for different reasons. We get into friendships to have shared fun around an activity. We get into friendships about a shared interest. It could be a craft interest or, a church group, and you want to get to know somebody a little bit more. You might be needing support. And I know that was one of the reasons why I got into a friendship, is that after my divorce and after cleaning house and everything else, I needed support. And they're looking around, there wasn't too many people in my inner circle. So I started making some new friends. And, if I really think about that too, I've gotten, my best girly of 24 years, I got into that relationship because I needed support as well. And so that could be, a reason why you get into relationship. Or more recently, I've met a lot of women out in town, and it's around going through a divorce and going through trauma and going through narcissistic abuse and talking about the experience. So friendships can sometimes be around a shared trauma for whatever that you've negotiated in life. And, that can be a bond. And, there's benefits to being in a close friendship. And there, with any friendship, there's great physical and mental health benefits to being in relationship and close friendship with somebody. And there are so many studies out there that really highlight the benefits of what a friendship does for our physical health as well as our mental health. And one of the big things is that close friendships really strengthen our adult mental health. Having somebody that is riding alongside you in the pluses and minuses of life just gives you a lot of confidence and a confidant and someone that you can trust and someone that's just walking alongside. So that can really help boost your mental health. With a friendship, there is less stress and less anxiety levels because you've got that person that's your close confidant, and they're riding alongside you. And another thing that friendships really help out with is social support. And with that social support and being supported and not being isolated, you actually have better mental functioning. And you're able to remember things, and you're also able to have better recall. And, just having all of that type of support can really just change your outlook on life. It gives you a positive attitude. I've also read some other studies that are about weight loss. It can help with weight loss because you're happier and you feel like you're not all alone. Another couple benefits is it reduces the feelings of loneliness, as well as shortens depression. You've got somebody with you that's navigating life. And, if you reach out and brave to reach out and really tell them where you're at, that can really shorten, some of those bluesy feelings. And, I know a couple of months ago, I called and reached out to some friends of mine, and I was just like, I really am feeling really crappy today. Could we pray together? And, it just was so, I was overjoyed that they spent the time, both her and her husband, to get on the phone to pray with me. And that just really, solidified a bond that I could be vulnerable and open to share with them that I was really low that day, and that they really came to the rescue and gave me some encouragement and some uplift and provided that necessary support and prayer. And that really helped me to shorten, what I was feeling that day and thinking that day. And just having that connection just really gives you that sense of support, but also that intimacy where you're really sharing where you're at with somebody else, and they're really able to meet you. They're available, they're responsive, and they're engaged. I think that's really a great place to be when you have friends, that they're available for you, in your time of need, and you're available for them. And you're both responsive to each other, responding to their bid or they're responding to your bid. There is engagement, that they're actually doing something to help support, and they're there with you. So I always remember that acronym. It's ARE, available, responsive, and engaged. And, having a friend really helps you to feel that awesome companionship, and really alleviates loneliness and improves life satisfaction, that you're not all alone. And, another benefit is that when there are life changes, that there is a support system, a strong support system that comes around you and provides emotional support. And that's someone that you can turn to in hard times. If you've got a tragedy or an accident, or you're feeling really low emotionally, that you can be brave to reach out to this person, and that they're going to be there for you in that tragedy, in that accident, in that thing that you're processing and you're really low about. And the cool thing is that on the flip side is that if you've got something really cool to share, you've had a win or a success or this amazing thing, that you have somebody to share that with. And that is what the cool, amazing thing is about friendship. And, even if you are low, that other person can boost you. And then when they're low, you can boost them. And it's just like this ebb and flow in life is just so incredibly supportive and connecting. And, it's kind of nice to, when you're having a low, that it's nice that there are other people that you can look to, or people that are ahead of you in your healing, that it's like, oh, today's not so bad. I've got this other person and I can move through this, and I've got someone to support me, and I can support myself. But having that person to kickstart you when you're having a low day is incredible. But even more, that you can share an ebb and flow in life with the support of a friend or friends to, I guess. And also, if you're both having a terrible day, then you can both lift each other up. And so that hasn't happened to me too much in life with, both people being in the down position, but it does happen from time to time. But you can be there to lift each other up, or also wallow in some of the hurts or whatever, and still have laughter and humor. And I think that's what the brightness of having friends and friendships that go on in life, that, someone to turn to in hard times, but also someone that you can share in the highs, and you just never know what's going on in that other person's life, that you're picking them up too. And, having a good friend is there's some things that are really beneficial about them is they're all based on trust. So a good friend is trustworthy. They're someone who is honest and they speak the truth and they speak openly from the heart. And that really gives us objectivity. I know very early on in my healing season from my 20-year marriage and also narcissistic abuse, I really needed to have people around me to provide some objectivity. I'd be able to go in with whatever was going on for me in that day, and I had an extra set of eyes and ears to help me figure out what exactly was going on for me in that period. And I think having a friend really provides that open-hearted, honest, reflective look at life, and sometimes might be, hey, it's really not this, but maybe it's this. Or, having that objectivity is so important in life because sometimes we can just really get caught up in our head and we're looking at it from one perspective and we're circling and we can't get out of that. And then having somebody who will ask you a question or really dig in to be like, what's behind that? And then sometimes there can be that nugget that really happens from having a good friend. Just having that validation and witnessing is so important, especially after divorce or narcissistic abuse. Having that person to validate your experience, someone who is going to be honest, to tell you the honest truth and not gaslight you. And also just to provide that safe container for you to have open thoughts about things. A good friend is dependable. And a good friend is caring and they're supportive and they're compassionate and they're empathetic. And, sometimes in life, you don't have to have a friend who's gone through exactly what you've been through. But if they have the ability to be empathetic and hold space and have compassion for you, it's just this safe container to navigate life through. And, it's really special when you have a friend like that, who is trustworthy, who's honest, who is caring, who is dependable, someone who shows up when they're supposed to show up and who is available to you when you need them. And, when you have that type of friendship, it is amazing and very supportive and so loved. You feel loved when you have that type of friendship. And we all know what having a good friend looks like and what it feels like in our body. It feels expansive. It feels connecting. It feels loving. It feels kind. It feels just incredibly grounding to have a friend that is right there with you in the trenches, in the highs and the lows. And, I just wanted to talk a few minutes about what a toxic friend looks like. And there's a stark difference between what healthy, supportive, caring, loving, kind friendship is and a toxic friendship. And there's an incredible difference. Just a couple of things, because there's a long list of what a toxic friendship looks like. And I'll just go through the wave tops. The first one is that you as a friend are giving more than you're getting. And you're the friend to this other person and you're giving to them and you're meeting them where they're at, but yet there's a disconnect when it comes time for your time to be supported. And there's a disconnect for you to receive uplift, for you to receive support. And, you're giving all of that to this other person, but they're not giving that in kind. And, when the conversation, over lunch, you've listened and you're there for that person, you're giving compassion and empathy and support and words and you're being there. And then, during lunch, there isn't that sharing time or, over drinks or whatever. It's always about that other person. And there's nothing for you. There's no soup for you with that type of relationship. It is all you giving and not receiving at all. And that's the first sign of a toxic friendship. The second one is that the connection and trust has eroded over time. and you have let down, and there's been canceled plans and they haven't shown up, and there's you agree to have a meetup and then they're not there, and you just feel let down in this type of relationship. And when you've reached out support, it takes a couple extra days or a week for this person to get back to you, and it's just a hard thing, when this connection and the trust has eroded in life. And another one is that you don't enjoy spending time with them, that it's more of an appointment, and you're kind of happy when they call and cancel, and you feel energetically drained when you spend time with this person. Over time you might have really enjoyed and were uplifted, but now there's this drain that is on you energetically. Like, you just feel so drained when you get done with a social engagement, and you might be feeling anxiety or a headache, or you might have stomach problems, or when you get out, there's a little bit of that trauma thing that starts up, that ruminating thoughts, and that you just don't feel really happy about yourself, and you don't like yourself when you're with these people, and you're doing things that are out of your value system or your standards, or you're just going along. And there's so many more toxic signs about a toxic friendship, and it's really hard to see, especially if you're someone who really values long-term relationships. And I know that's one of the reasons why I stayed in my relationship with the other Marine girl, is that I value long-term relationships, and I was doing things at any and all costs to save that relationship, because I guess I didn't really, I had this friendship and I wanted to stay friends. And what do people say? I've seen it, since I've been divorced. I was in a marriage for over 20 years. And, I had a 24-year relationship with a friend, and you go out in this new landscape of life after divorce and after doing a lot of healing, and you're like, well, I don't really have any long-term friends. And, for me, like, I look around, and maybe this is something I still need to do some work around, is that longevity really builds you as a stable person. And is that really true? That this long-standing relationship, I really valued that. And so I put up with a lot of bad behavior. And if you're a person that values that, then that could be something where you're trading favor for the negative in these type of relationships. And maybe you're in friendship because you have some blind spots, and I know for me, I definitely had some blind spots, that I had some codependency tendencies, and I overlooked a lot of bad behavior, and I wasn't comfortable in calling out bad behavior and escalating and having conflict. And I just wanted to sweep it under the rug. So that had a lot to do with me, as far as having blind spots about different people in relationship. And, the other thing is in our background, if have some codependency tendencies and we're a people pleaser, that sometimes we end up getting in relationships that are similar to our childhoods, or that are similar to our romantic relationships, that they keep us on that treadmill of earning love by being there, by being that trusty friend when we're not getting anything, when we're being breadcrumbed, and we stay on that treadmill of a friendship because it feels familiar to us. And it feels like we're earning love, and we just have to keep do, and we stay on this relationship. We stay in this friendship, and we're on this treadmill of a relationship, and we keep being chained to this toxic person, and we don't know how to let go. And again, some of us, put a high value on long-term friendships. And we also do it because we're loyal. We're loyal to people, and we stay. We stay when there's bad behavior, and we're like, oh, well, we can weather the storm, and maybe that person's going through a really rough time, and we stay out of loyalty, and we stay chained to toxic relationships and toxic friendships. And again, I talked about people pleasing and codependency and the tendency just to stay because we don't know how to end it. And we stay because we just stay because we're want to earn that love and earn that support of this friend who's not really there for us. And it's really a difficult dynamic to see, especially if you're in it. And especially if you've had a pattern of this in your life from childhood, and you had it in romantic relationships, and then you've done it in work, and now you have this dynamic in friendships. And so it's really sometimes can be very difficult with a friendship, because that's part of my inner circle. That's like a connection, a heart connection. And, friendships for me, just like mine with my Marine girl, that was like a long duration friendship. And it was something that I valued and something that I was loyal to and something that, I gave so many benefit of the doubts. And that person, what knew secrets about me, and I shared and was vulnerable. And so I protected that relationship. But toxic friendships can be very hard to see. And, that's one thing that me as a coach and me as a relationship person that walks alongside you, I help you to take an inner circle census of those people who are in your life. I help you to take a deep dive into assessing whether this friendship is good for you, is healthy for you, is a healthy, secure relationship. Are these people, and is this person available, responsive, and engaged? And I'm that objective person that helps you dig in to help you understand if these friendships and acquaintanceships are good for you, and help you take a 360-degree a census of this relationship, because toxic friendships can really have a negative physical and mental health consequences to you as an individual. They can really cause you to have anxiety, can cause you to have stress around somebody who's there and supposed to support you. You can have GI issues, gastrointestinal issues with stomach aches and headaches and migraines, and just not feeling good with yourself and having negative attitude about life. And so, you might even feel with being in friendship, you might actually in friendship feel abandoned when that person doesn't show up for you. You can feel loneliness. You can go into some coping patterns with a toxic friendship. Like that could be emotional eating. That could be turning to alcohol, turning to sex, turning to drugs, turning to shopping or gambling. I mean, having that close supported friend, if you have a toxic friend inside the secure perimeter, and that's Marine Girl speak, the inner secure perimeter, and that's how I look at it in my life, is anybody who's going to have access to me, that's a secure perimeter that I protect at any and all costs. And I want to make sure that everybody who's close to me, that they are mutually supporting, that they're mutually reciprocal in giving and receiving support. And if I don't have that, and it has caused me some physical harm and mental health harm being in relationship with toxic people. It's caused me to have some depression at times. It's caused me to be an emotional eater. And again, you can get all really squirrely in your brain with cognitive functioning. And that could be increased rumination. That could also be low memory, and also low recall. So having a toxic friend inside your inner circle can cause all sorts of emotional and physical health havoc. And it's important to know who is inside your inner circle, inside your inner secure perimeter. and I will help you do that, is to take a census of your inner circle, of all your friends and family and everything else, because it is so important for your physical and mental health to be supported by people who can carry that load for you. And it can be devastating otherwise to be in relationship with a toxic person. And, you can feel abandoned and that there's no one there to support you in your time of need. And so it was nice to be able to share about the benefits of having a friend who can be available, responsive, and engaged. And we've shared and we talked about the devastating effects of having a toxic friendship. And so my question to you today is, have you ever done a census of your inner circle? Taken an objective look at every single person who is in your inner circle to assess whether they are available, responsive, and engaged, and that they don't have any of the toxic friendship characteristics that could be detrimental to your physical health as well as your mental health. And so, have you ever done a census of your inner circle? And that would be an important thing to take in this phase in your life of healing after divorce and after narcissistic abuse. So have you ever done that? And so I just wanted to remind you that be your own true love by loving yourself happily ever after, that we get the opportunity to love ourselves whole and to love ourselves and be our own true love. And we can do that by living happily ever after. And so I've really enjoyed having this conversation with you, and I look forward to continuing the conversation. And I hope you have a really good day. I actually am cooking up some balsamic onion jam, and just the thyme and the red onion smell sauteing on the stove just smells incredible today. And I hope you have a really good Saturday, and I look forward to carrying the conversation in a future video. And I hope you have a great day. Take care.